Hello everyone and a warm welcome from SQL Systems to today's webinar, Maximize Your Technology Investment by Moving Databases to Oracle Cloud. I am Ram, associated with Square BDM team, Business Development team, and I'll be moderator for this webinar. Let me give you a little background about our company. Square has been in the business of providing software solutions since 2002 and successfully engaging with Fortune 500 companies in various verticals including manufacturing, finance, hospitality, retail, education, high tech, and public sectors. I take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Vidya Sagar, key presenter for today's session. Sagar has extensive hands-on experience in Oracle Cloud databases and has successfully handled multiple projects in migrating on-premises databases to Oracle Cloud. So before we start, let me explain you how you can talk to us during the webinar. We have enabled our Ask a Question feature. It will be there on the right side of your screen. So if you have any questions, just post them in there and we can address your questions post the session. In case you wanted to mail us your questions separately, you can always drop an email to us at david.eng@sqlsystems.com. And if you miss anything, don't worry, you will be receiving a on-demand recording when it is available. Thank you so much, everybody. Over to you, Sagar.
Thank you, Ram, for the warm welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm Vidya Sagar. I'm a cloud practitioner at Square. I'll be handling Oracle cloud migrations and implementing the best industry standard practices to our customers through our Center for Excellence. So today, we're going to discuss about the database migrations to the Oracle cloud. So before getting started with the presentation, let's look at the agenda of today's webinar content. So today we're going to discuss about how about the migrations to the Oracle Cloud. So in considering that, so we'll be discussing about the considerations for Oracle Cloud. So at this point, we'll be discussing about the data management portfolio and the cloud advantages and some of the key benefits of Oracle Cloud. And next, we'll be discussing about the migration plan for databases to Oracle Cloud. Here, we'll be discussing about the checklist for the DB migration plan and some of the methods to use and some of the migration scenarios that are being covered. And moving on to that, and we'll also discuss about Oracle Database Cloud Services. So here we'll be discussing about some of the key services of Oracle Cloud, like DBCS, XRCS, and Exadata Clouded Customer, and Autonomous Database, and Autonomous Database Clouded Customer model. And we also cover Oracle DB cloud migration methods, like we'll be discussing about the logical and the physical migration methods using various tools like Golden Gate and the Data Pump, etc. And we also discuss about the DB migration and related cloud solutions, like we'll be discussing about the ZDM, which is a zero downtime migration as a software solution. And we also discuss about some of the other tools like MB2 ADM and moving to OCI, which covers the maximum availability architecture, including the SQL developer, etc., and various other solutions that are available from the Oracle Cloud. And we also discuss about Oracle Cloud comparison and some of the available regions which are recently added. And we also try to compare with that with some of the other cloud vendors. We also would like to show you about some of the Gartner reports for the Oracle Cloud and how it performs in the market and some of the newly added regions in OCI. And we would like to add some other points like cost and budget savings analysis, like OCPUs, and some other costs which are involved in OCI. And we'll be discussing about like Oracle IaaS and Amazon AWS, like some of the few differences between Oracle IaaS and Amazon AWS. And we would like to show you some of the case studies which we have done previously and which we are ongoing for the DB migrations. So there will be trying to show you like some of the successful migration strategies for our valued customers. All right, so let's get into the deeper picture of it now. So as you all know, like every organization now is trying to move on to the Oracle Cloud or one of the major other cloud partners. So here, like it's a known fact that like more and more organizations are now like opting towards cloud solutions for various reasons. So like every production DB migration has like one common challenge, which is nothing but they need service downtime. So there are, of course, there are like multiple solutions available to minimize or like achieve zero downtime for Oracle DB migrations. So we'll be discussing how to minimize or have least production downtime for a DB migration, like in comparison with the on-premises and the Oracle Cloud, and how do we benefit and take advantage and maximize our investments by moving to the database to the cloud. So before moving on to that, so let us understand like what exactly the Oracle Cloud is going to provide for our database workloads and other application workloads. As you see, like Oracle Cloud has more advantages, like it has the complete portfolio of picture, like data management, and the Oracle portfolio, which includes various database services in the Oracle Cloud, such as an on-premises and the cloud customer and other public cloud and also the private cloud models. It also have it is compatible basically with all kind of data types, which are like relational, structured, unstructured, and unrelational unstructured data as well. And it also have a solution to run all the workloads like database related and the application related from on-premises to even the autonomously managed services in OCI. And some of the advantages here, if you see, like it has a lot of security related features, and it is also HIPAA certified. And in comparison with the other cloud vendors, it have if you're running the databases in Oracle on the on-premises or even source environment, obviously the first choice would be the Oracle Cloud to migrate your workloads. And it can also allow us to migrate any Oracle and non-Oracle workloads to the Oracle Cloud. And as I said, it is also compatible with Oracle database and the applications with minimal changes of code if required while deploying, or with no change as well. And it provides a complete end-to-end solution to all the business users and the developers. And it has a lot of key benefits. When we talk about the key benefits, like IO, intense operations, it can take up the load and provide the best in shape of Oracle Cloud servers and the like workload VM setup and everything. And it provides a lower cost in terms of service, and it gives with a better price and performance model. And it will, in my experience and in our experience of previous migrations, so we have seen like there will be less efforts in migrating when we move Oracle databases from on-premises to the Oracle Cloud. And obviously, it has a lower operational cost involved when compared to the traditional infrastructure in the on-premises. So moving on to the critical workloads to the Oracle Cloud. So Oracle Cloud comes with various deployment models, like one which is a public cloud, which Oracle majorly has its infrastructure as a service model initially defined. So before discussing about these models, I would like to bring to you like your observation, like the Oracle Cloud infrastructure initially, it was even like before it launched in 2012, and it rebranded itself in 2014. So initially it was launched as an Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Classic model, which is a first generation of OCI. So where it initially launched on the bare metals on VMs, so it's basically based on a VM model, Whereas in generation 2, it comes with a bare metal model, which provides a cloud service, which is a major advantage. And it also enhances its features and different types of added availability options and all in the recent years. And it is also continuously developing. So in the OCI second generation, we can see a lot of improvements that were made, and which are we have seen like it is really helpful in migrating the databases. And I would like to discuss some of the points in the coming up slides. So before that, so these are the public cloud models that we have and the private cloud model. And in combination of both, we call it as a hybrid cloud. And basically the IaaS, the infrastructure as a service, the hosting option, it's basically a cloud hosting option. It has different types involved in it. So one of the offerings is database as a service, and the other one is the Exadata as a service. As we can see, like there are a couple of parameters. If we take into security point of view, the Oracle IaaS is going to provide a lot of security features involved, and in combination with database as a service, it also has a continuous security related feature, and in combination of Exadata, you can see the highest model of security that is provisioned. When moving on to the high availability related aspect, it also has a similar kind of medium to high options available. And whereas in Exadata, you can see the clouded customer model, or in Exadata cloud services, you can see the highest availability models involved. And coming to the scalability and elasticity, we can have the highest in infrastructure as a service. And we also see like in Exadata, it continues its elasticity and scalability models. And whenever you need a scale up or scale down model, we can do that in the Oracle IaaS platform. And coming to the performance, it has a lot of features, and a lot of performance improvements were made in the recent Gen 2 related OCI. And coming to the cost, obviously Oracle IaaS comes with a lower price when compared with other vendors, whereas in combination with Exadata, because of its rack appliance, it's going to be costlier with the normal compared to the normal IaaS. And of course, the Oracle database and applications, it's going to run exceptionally well on the Oracle Cloud because of these features. And we would like to bring you like some of the checklist, like a kind of a checklist which is involved while doing a migration plan from on-premises Oracle databases to OCI. If you see here, so basically the source and database versions needs to be checked at the beginning of migration. We also check for the platform related, like which platform it's going to run on the source, whether it's a Linux or any other OS platform. And coming to the character set, the source database character set needs to be considered, because some of the databases might have a different character set involved, where Oracle Cloud allows you to choose the character set in the target as well. And coming to the quantity of data, like in case of if you're having any partitions or any kind of indexes which need to be specified, we can do that while doing the migrations. And also we have a lot of methods involved for migrating it. So for that, we have a data transportation model that is available, and we can look into that. And coming to the database features and data types which are used, because it's going to support a lot of data related types, and all these features will definitely helpful while migrating the databases. And coming to the storage, so we'll be staging this database related backup files, I would say. So we'll be using an object storage or any NFS storage, whichever is designed and architected from the on-premises, and we can move that data to the OCI. And we will be seeing the length of system outage. So this is the one key aspect, like many of our customers are going to relate it to it. And because of this system outage, we can bring up some of the solutions from the Oracle Cloud and implement it in a like seamless fashion. And also the network bandwidth. So, and it depends on your on-premises network, and OCI provides the best in solutions that are available for the network bandwidth, and we can choose among the availability related, like based on your licensing and all. And some of the methods to use, Like coming to the cloud migration methods, we have a logical migration and the physical migration. So these are the main two differences, where if you consider logical migration, we can make use of data pump as well as a golden gate, which is like most of our customers are really interested. If they have a golden gate license, you can take up the license as well for moving on premises to OCI, so that they can benefit if you have an on premises license. And coming to the physical migration model, we have an armament backup like backup pieces we can move. And coming to the transportable method, we can also use that. And we have other options like data guard, and we can restore the backup to the Oracle public cloud using an object storage method. And we can also move the data to like using the public internet, and we can establish a private high bandwidth virtual internet from on premises to OCI as well. So some of the migration scenarios are like you can, for example, say like you can migrate your backup which is already taken, and we can move that backup and restore it in OCI. And we can also use data guard as one of the migration scenarios, which is really minimize the downtime when compared to other available solutions, traditional methods. And the migration, you can using the pluggable database models. For example, say like if you have a multi-tenant architecture, so we can make use of unplugging and plugging this databases from on-premises to OCI. And we can also perform a remote cloning method, like we can perform a cloning from on-premises to OCI as well, by establishing a connectivity between both. And coming to the non-CDB, we can also create from a non-CDB database to a CDB database in a multi-tenant environment, as well as a CDB to a CDB. And coming to the upgrade, we can migrate this data using the data pump, and later we can upgrade those databases to the newer versions of say like if we want to migrate it to a 19C version, we can also do that using the data pump model. And of course, the full transportable export and import, which is also reduces the downtime. But when compared to the newer solutions are much faster and works better. And of course, the upgrade and migration is one of the other scenario, like Golden Gate. Oracle like OCI provides a Golden Gate cloud services model as well, where we can migrate and even upgrade the target database. So here is a sample picture of the deployment model, like a difference. As you see, like in on-premises, there are multiple data centers for production and the dev and the QA environment. And of course, it's the hardware is going to be aging because it needs to be renewed based on our workloads and all. And of course, the higher cost is involved in the on-premises database deployment model. If you see in the OCI, all these kind of issues are going to be reduced in the OCI deployment model, and no need of purchasing like high performance servers, like with in case if you are not utilizing those, you no need to purchase those servers. Even because if sometimes if you think like now on premises, if it is going to be utilized during the peak workloads, it may not be same all the year in the annual academic, and it may be unused sometimes. So whereas an OCI, because of its scalability and the aging factor, so agility factor, so these are the things like it can run your business fast, and you can reduce the nodes whenever there is no much workload on the nodes. So these are some of the deployment model differences from compared to the on-premises to the OCI. Of course, there are lower operational costs which are involved in the OCI, whereas the cost of operation is going to be higher in the on-premises. And coming to the Oracle Database Cloud Services, we have some of the key services which are involved, like the Database Cloud Service, an Exadata Cloud Service, an Exadata Cloud Customer model, and the Autonomous Database, and of course the Autonomous Database Cloud Customer, which is recently launched by the Oracle. So as we see, like DBCS and XSCS, so these are the major services that we have, and next to that, Autonomous, it's going to be there. And in DBCS and XSCS, so we can make use of the virtual machines, like while deploying the servers, we can, in the IaaS platform, in OCI, we can make use of the virtual machines creation, and of course, you can also make use of the bare metal and the Exadata cloud service option while choosing a database cloud service or an Exadata cloud service. Some of the like benefit models are like Exadata Cloud Customer. It's one of the best cloud customer model that Exadata have, and OCI, and it's going to be comes as an Exadata Cloud Customer service. Whereas an autonomous database, of course, there is a very minimal database operational administration involved, and the other automation related patching and all, we can do it in an autonomous database. And if we are having new deployment models, like any development model, we can choose an autonomous database as well. And coming to this, like autonomous, we can also have a cloud customer model there. Like it's going to be most of the things were managed by the OCI, and few are managed by the end users. Whereas in DBCS and Exadata Cloud Customer and even XSCS, we have most of the control that are being managed by the administrator. Like if you are a DBA, we can administer both DBCS and XSCS environments. And of course, the sysDBA privileges, which are not involved in the autonomous database, whereas in the XSCS or DBCS, it is available. It can also have the standard edition or enterprise edition related in the when like we choose the DBCS or an XSCS. Whereas an autonomous database, these options like are limited to the enterprise editions. And moreover, it comes with a CDB architecture in the autonomous. So coming to most of the customers may ask, like, what are the compatibility related metrics in terms of deploying in a DBCS or an Exadata cloud service model. So I'm going to discuss about those things in the coming slides. And here is a glimpse of like which versions it's going to be supported. Like it's going to support it from 11.2 for the DBCS and XSCS, whereas in we have seen like some of the customers are having the 10G services previously, and we tried to successfully move that in the OCI model. And coming to the autonomous database, and it's going to support the latest versions like 19C and 18C as well. As we said, like the characteristics like for these database cloud service models are like, for the virtual machines, you might be seeing like infrastructure, it's going to be a shared model, and bare metal service, it's going to be a dedicated model. Whereas in XSCS, it's going to be a dedicated model again, and XSCS Cloud Customer, it's going to be a dedicated model. And it follows for the autonomous database also. In autonomous database, we have a shared and dedicated architecture involved. Like the database management point of view, like customer can manage when it is deployed on a virtual machine or a bare metal or an XSCC. Whereas in autonomous, the access is limited and there is no access to the customer. And of course, the sysDBA privileges are available in the DBCS or XSCS model, and it's not available in the autonomous database. So if the customer willing to move its databases to autonomous, so we may need to look into these kind of restrictions that are involved. Whereas we always recommend to go with the DBCS and XSCS model, so it gives better control and manageability. And coming to the max available like CPUs that are provided in the virtual machines model, we can have a 24 CPU model, whereas in a rack it comes with a 48. Whereas in bare metal it comes with a 52, and of course the per Exadata it's going to be higher with its rack appliance and InfiniBand services. So coming to the max storage limit, the virtual machines is going to be 40, whereas in bare metal it's going to be 16 terabytes, and whereas in Exadata it has a larger storage when compared to the regular IaaS models. And coming to the shaping, we can change these shapes like in the offline for the virtual machines deployments, whereas for other we can do it as an online model. And the real application clusters like rack, like many of the on-premises databases are like going to be a rack or a standalone databases. So both of these can be migrated to the OCI. So for that we can make choose of either non-Exadata or Exadata. kind of nodes. And disaster recovery plan, like if you're having a data guard set up on the on-premises, we can also set up the data guard in the virtual machine model or a bare metal model, or even Exadata. We can make use of Exadata nodes and create the data guard setup as like an on-premises setup. And coming to the installations, all these installations are applicable for the non-autonomous databases, whereas in autonomous databases, it comes with an automatic deployment model as a service. And coming to the controlling of patch level, it has a lot of patch level like we can apply these patches also if we have chosen like any other model of bare metal or virtual machine or Exadata. Whereas in autonomous database, it will be done automatically in the shared model. And moving on to the methods that we're going to discuss about migrating to Oracle Cloud. So Datapump is one of the logical migration model and the Golden Gate. And we also have the Data Guard, RMAN, like unplugging and plugging of databases if it is a multi-tenant architecture, and a remote cloning and a refreshable clone method. And moving to OCI, these are some of the tools that are proprietary tools from the OCI. So it's being used for migrating the databases to the Oracle Cloud. So we will also discuss about ZDM. I'm going to discuss about the next awaiting topic. So before that, so these are the options that we have for migrating those workloads to the like databases to the Oracle Cloud. Whereas in Exadata, if you are choosing an Exadata Cloud customer or autonomous database, so we can make use of Datapump or as a Golden Gate. And for autonomous databases, we have a specific software solution that is available, which is nothing but MB2ADB. It's like moving to autonomous database. So this is the cloud migration solutions. Like as you see, there's various options involved. If you see the ZDM, zero downtime migration, so we can make use of this. Like it will allow us to migrate these databases with very minimal time, and in sometimes the very during the cutover, it will reduce a lot of time for migration. And for that, the source databases are going to be supported for both the non-CDB as well as the CDB. If you're choosing a CDB databases, it's going to support for the 12C versions and the 18C and the latest 19C and coming up 20C as well in the recent times. And coming to the non-CDB databases, it's going to support from 11G till the latest version of 19C. So if you have an on-premises databases of these versions, and we can make use of ZDM and migrate those workloads with very minimal downtime. Whereas the target database, we can also choose from the 11G to the 19C. And because most of the databases are being recently compatible and being migrated to the 19C version because of its feature licensing part. So Oracle Database Cloud Service bare metal or virtual machine model is available if you want to choose it on OCI target version. Also, we can make use of Exadata Cloud Service and Exadata Cloud Customer model also if you are having the target databases to be at Exadata Cloud Customer model. And coming to the service types, so there's this comes as a cloud service model, as like a software solution model from the OCI point of view. It's a tool. So this ZDM is more compatible, and like many of our customers have benefited using the ZDM model. And moving on to the other models like MB2ADM, if you are using an autonomous database, we can like if you are having a very as I said, like it's in development data or any such data, or if you want to have newer integrations and want to try the autonomous databases, we can make use of moving to ADM option for that. And of course, it's managed, most of the things are managed by the OCI, and the source database, it's going to be compatible from the 11G to the 19C versions. Whereas in the target database, again, we can choose a data warehouse model or a transaction processing model. In transaction processing, you can have a dedicated and a serverless model too. And coming to the service type, it's again a tool from the OCI, and it is based on our experience and the previous migrations. We see like The ZDM is beneficial for larger data sets, whereas moving to the autonomous is going to support it for both the small and the large because of its connectivity and all. So whereas in ME2 OCI, so this is another tool if you want to migrate your on-premises database to OCI, you can directly move that data using this tool, and it's going to support it from 11G, 12C, 18C, and 19C versions. Whereas in the target databases, again, we can choose either 11G, 12C, 18C, or 19C, or bare metal or VMs, or Exadata Cloud Services also. And this is again a service type which is provided by the OCI. And all these are max availability architecture compatible, like ZDM is one of that. And if we're having, we can also create a data guard model and create a maximum availability architecture. If you're having an on-premises network is in ZDLRA, which is like if you're using an Exadata, you might be aware of it. Like it's a backup related appliance where we can make use of connecting those ZDLRA appliance, and we can also make you migrate the data from your on-premises Exadata stack to the OCI Exadata. And coming to the source database, again, it's going to be supported if it's a CDB or a PDB database, whereas it's also support for the non-CDB databases. And interestingly, some of the source databases can also be from the AWS, and like an AWS EC2 node, we can migrate it to the OCI. And coming to the target versions, we can make use of the 11G, 12C, 18C, or 19C, whereas the other services like Exadata and Autonomous are also compatible. So it's going to be an AA cloud solution if you're choosing a maximum availability architecture model. So it comes with an extra cost, obviously, because of its credibility. And coming to the SQL developer, we can make use of SQL developer for shifting the logical migrations like schemas and tables, migrating those data to the cloud. And it's compatible if you're having the source database as multi-tenant environment, or of course, if you're using an AWS existing Redshift or an RDS. And the target can be any of our VM, bare metals, and virtual machines, and Exadata, or an autonomous type of deployment. So this is again, a SQL developer is a tool which is a proprietary tool from the Oracle. And coming to the beneficial, it's going to support it if it will not support majorly for the larger data, but it is very well suitable if you're using a small and mid-sized data sets, and it comes as a free. And in continuation of that, we have the other migration solutions available. Like for example, if you're having a huge data, like around 150 terabytes of data, OCI is going to provide the data transfer appliance. Of course, it is limited to some of the continents like US or some of the regions like US or EU, European regions. It comes with a high capacity storage appliance where you can connect that storage appliance to your on-premises network, and we can also connect it by transferring the data and make use of it. And Arman is one of the other deployment migration solution available. Like it's a simple and efficient approach for migrating the data to the Oracle Cloud. Whereas again, the source and target databases are going to be supported for all of these Arman data pump. And we can also plug and unplug the data, and we can do the remote cloning also. So here I would like to show you like the on-premises to the Oracle Cloud database migration. It's an overview of it. Like if you see like the customer data center is going to be connected either using the Fast Connect or the VPN model, and the DRG model, Dynamic Routing Gateway as well. So Oracle Cloud is going to have multiple availability domains, and it's going like initially this will be connected to your on-premises network using either the internet gateway or an IPsec VPN tunnel for the secure data transfer, and also we have the Fast Connect model. So this is one of the storage gateway migration model which we have used like similar to this we have used earlier. Like we can on-premises databases we can connect using the NFS storage. and we can create the storage gateway for this. And by connecting to the NFS storage, we can transfer the data to the OCI using a medium of object storage, which is a storage mechanism in OCI. And from there, that data can be again transferred to the OCI database system by creating a DBS service model in the OCI. So the data can be transferred using the NFS shares. If you're having NFS v3, NFS v4 versions is compatible for that. See, the other one is a Golden Gate cloud service model. So here, the Golden Gate allow us to perform a zero downtime migration because few of our customers have used this Golden Gate model because of its have the license option, and it's going to be a seamless migration model again when you're using a Golden Gate. So all we need is like some of the configurations to be done on your on-premises as well as an OCI. So if you're using an existing Golden Gate service, like it's going to be a similar Golden Gate functionality, but some of the configurations will be differ while connecting to the OCI. And as on a big picture, like we can connect the Golden Gate to source database, we can extract the trail files, and we can use that. Then we can create instantiate the target database, and from there we can replicate those trail files to the target, and again we can connect that replication and ensure that replication is established. And from there, once the target is completely synced with the source, we can make a cutover of it, and from there we can start using the target database. So this is the high-level picture that is involved for connecting your on-premises network to the OCI model. And this is one of the the best we can say, like zero downtime migration, and it's a most awaited topic for this session. So it's going to be benefited if you are using a zero downtime migration cloud services. So this is basically we'll be deploying this zero downtime migration tool on a separate server. So because this involves the total data transfer from your on-premises to the cloud. So the first step would be like we need to download this ZDM. So also, like if you're having an OCI license, it comes with a with no extra cost, I would say. So all we need to do is we need to download it and install this ZDM on the server, and from there we need to make some of the configuration changes. And after that, we need to establish the SSH connectivities between the ZDM on premises and to the OCI. And from there, it will be connected to the object storage if you're using an OCI model, or else we can also connect like the local NFS or ZDL array also if you're using an Exadata on source. And from there, we can transfer the data backup to the object store if you're using an OCI object store model. And we can create a standby database using that backup. And from there, once it is synced with the source database, we can make a switchover of it. And as you see, like the whole process is going to be seamless when you're using a ZDM. And at last, we are going to terminate that source connectivities. And after that, we can bring up that standby database and make use as like a primary. So this is an overview picture, but for the configurations and from moving the data to the on-premises to the OCI, so we need some expertise on moving the databases. And coming to the Gartner report, it's nothing to say related to the Oracle top ranking in the recent days, because it's going to be having a lot of features involved, and because of that, it has top ranking in terms of database management systems and operational model. In the Gartner report, as you see, like the recent criticality models and all, it has a lot of features involved. And not only that, it's going to increase its revenue by the coming years. And most of the relational databases on the existing on-premises are going to be migrated in the coming near future. And we hope like the customers are choosing Oracle databases, if you're having their on-premises, they should be willing to move their on-premises data workloads to the OCI. And also by the next couple of years, like 75% of all these databases are going to be migrated to the cloud platform. If you're using an on-premises, most of the things will be compatible and it will be easy to migrate to the Oracle Database Cloud. And this is the infrastructure regions that Oracle OCI is having. So some of the regions were recently added in India and other parts of continents. And some of these regions involves the commercial regions, and if you are using like some of the government regions also having, as you see, like these are plotted over the map. And coming to the cost and billing aspect, like it's going to be a per second billing if you are using compute instances and autonomous databases in OCI. Whereas for OCPUs are the measure of OCI, where like each shape, here we say like a shape of each instance will be measured in OCPU, so which is nothing but an Oracle compute unit. For Exadata Cloud database or like Exadata Cloud Customer in combination with autonomous, so the prices are going to be far lesser when compared to the other choice of the other vendors. Whereas in the standard edition or the enterprise edition, the high performance and enterprise high performance models, so these are going to be like the storage wise, and because OCI is going to use the NVMe storage for that. And if you see, like it's going to be faster and it's more reliable. And the virtual machines, the unit price is going to be less for OCPU per hour when compared to the Amazon or Microsoft Azure. So this is a small comparison of Oracle IaaS and the Amazon AWS. So as you see, like there is a little change in the terminology of AWS and the Oracle IaaS. Whereas in Oracle IaaS, we call it as a shape, whereas in AWS, we call it as an EC2 instance. And CPU measure is going to be an OCPU, whereas in AWS, it's an eCPU or vCPU. And coming to the object storage, so object storage, it's being used for an Oracle IaaS, whereas in S3's buckets are going to be used in AWS. And these are some of the terminology key differences. All right, so the cost savings, which are like, if you see, like from the AWS point of view, the bandwidth, the intensive bandwidth will be reduced when you're using an OCI model. Like most of the workloads are going to be much faster, and moreover, the network egress cost, the outbounding cost will be lesser when compared with the other AWS services. Whereas ingress is going to be free, so for the services in OCI. And coming to the IO intensive operations, the IO performance is going to be very much far better, I would say, when compared to the other AWS or any other model of deployment. And of course, the general purpose workloads are going to be balanced in compute and memory and network. Whereas if you are using a build your own model of grounding up, so we can have a lot of savings when you're using an Oracle IaaS model. And of course, it's a fast and efficient and price competitively. If you're using existing AWS, you might be knowing the difference between the other vendors. But if you have the deployments on Oracle IaaS, it has a lot of superior efficiency. So this is a Wikibon research report, analysis report that we have taken. Like if you see, like the 4-year benefit from migration from the Microsoft Azure and Exadata Cloud model. So it's going to be benefited large in this migration model, and it is far, the 4 years savings are very much minimized when you're using an Exadata Cloud customer. And coming to the case study, like which we have done, like one of our recent valuable customers. So these are the high-level steps that are involved while doing that. So some of the challenges that we encountered, and some of the preparation and cost and proof of concept that we have done, and the switchover method, because we have used the ZDM combination in few of the customers, as well the data guard option here, and coming to the post cloud switchover steps and the benefits that we have got. So all of these estimates, we have tried to minimize the downtime overall, and helping out the customer and reducing the time for doing the migration. So thank you, everyone. So over to you, Ram.
All right, thank you so much, Sagar. I try to pull some questions. Would you be able to, like, answer them? So the first question is from John. Why should our organization migrate to cloud?
Okay, so that's an interesting question, John. Thank you for putting that. So in a simple way, like if you see like the trends and technologies that are currently driving this digital transformation today, like if you take an IoT or a machine learning or an artificial intelligence, so these are all behind this mass migration of cloud computing. So I would say, like, trying to keep up with this growing demand for capacity, definitely it's going to be expensive. So using traditional infrastructure. So if you're using the cloud-based infrastructure, it's going to be more flexible, and you can, I would say, infinitely scalable also. So if you think public clouding computing is in your organization's future, but like if you're not ready to fully migrate it, so we can consider on-premises and cloud customer model and deploy those, like migrating those workloads. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right. The second question is from Yash. What if I have data that must remain on premises for regulatory compliance?
Okay, I think that's one, the another interesting question. So looking for the cloud deployment models that will allow you to move, like you can modernize the cloud operation model, like without necessarily changing all the data to the public cloud, because we can turn that database workloads to private cloud systems or a private cloud, public cloud system based on your firewall configurations, and it will be useful if it at a clouded customer we can benefit it and get the same set of capabilities as public cloud deployments. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, the next one is from Mike. How can I assure compatibility between on-premises and cloud deployments?
Thank you, Mike, for putting that question. So because like these systems are going to provide an environment like identical to cloud platform, so migration is going to be seamless as possible. So like one of our customers have done the data consolidation, like they have overcome these consolidations with using an Oracle Data model. So while using Oracle Data Cloud at customer, it's going to be seamlessly integrate external and internal clouds as well. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right. The next one is from Samuel. How will cost structure changes affect our financials?
Well, so moving from like a capital intense build, like build it yourself model to the pay as you go model, like in the cloud computing. So it basically requires a shift in model approach. So because of this cloud computing flexibilities and scalability costs, so most of these are closely matched usage and can be more predictable, and sometimes it's controllable as well. So if you take up this CapEx and OpEx models, like in CapEx, we'll be taking the standardized model of traditional IT procurement, whereas in an OpEx, so it's going to be cloud computing services like the procurement. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, we have one more from Ron. Does your existing software work with the cloud?
Yes, yeah. Thank you for that question again. Yes, because your cloud solution basically should support consolidation for a wide range of your mixed workloads. So definitely, like we can consolidate Oracle database and applications running on Windows and the other Linux operating systems. Even we can make use of Oracle private cloud appliance. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Sagar. These are the questions so far I received, and if anybody else is having any further questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. So Sagar can answer them. All right then. Thank you all for attending our webinar and maximize your technology investment by moving databases to Oracle. I hope I met your expectations and that you came away with a better understanding of the webinar content and benefits that it provides. Uh, if any of your questions were not answered during the event, please feel free to drop an email at david.young@sqlsystems.com, and we plan to get back to you in the next 1 or 2 days. And also, you'll also receive the recorded session of this webinar on your registered email, and you might want to pass to your colleagues who may be interested. As always, your feedback is always important to us, so please spend few minutes of your time in completing the post webinar survey, and please do let us know your thoughts about today's session and also what topic we should cover in future. Thank you so much, one and all.